Duff Dad is maintaining a strong lead, with Okyoki 3 and Nikembakken closely following behind. Gary Z is trailing in third place as they approach the first turn. Hugged03 has advanced to fourth place, passing R.A. Raphael and Ricky095. Smurf20 and Vex0v0 ID have climbed to 6th place, overtaking One Serious Guy and McRave Alive. Kokubai90 and V4L3NA have risen to 15th place, surpassing Arbit1 and Zago22. Welcome back, AliZ0NZ. Great to have you back in the race car spectating squad. Checkered flag. Hey Dav and Roll. Welcome back to the stream. Missed having you here, but you're just in time to catch some thrilling race car action with us. Let's rev up the excitement together. Racing car party popper. Hugged03 has advanced to 3P, passing Gary Z. Twix560 has gained ground to 9P, surpassing Laserlost. Twix560 and Laserlost from Team Vanguard are dueling for 9P. Gary Z, Raphael, and Ricky095 are in a tight tussle for 4th place. Meanwhile, Kokubai90 and V4L3NA are dueling it out with Jasak72 for the 15th spot. And 81,792 and Amy have made impressive moves to climb to 19th, surpassing Chubak Afro and Schnekais Steve. Gary Z is making a move up to 4P, overtaking R.A. Raphael and Ricky095. They are all in a tight battle for that position. Twix560 has also advanced to 8P, overtaking One Serious Guy and McRave Alive. Chubak Afro and Schnekais Steve have made a move, now sitting in 19th place, successfully overtaking 81,792 and Amy. Twix560 has made a slick maneuver, securing the 8th position after overtaking Laserlost. It's getting heated in the battle for 12th place between Arya Serial in a Nissan Skyline R33 LM Nismo and Wack and SGN7 who's driving a Lamborghini Diablo VT. Wack and SGN7 have made an impressive move up to 12P, overtaking Arya Serial. Waynetrain 94, Lacroix 1980, and Twix560 of Team Bolt Bucket Motorsports are tussling for the 7th position. Meanwhile, there's a fight between Twix560 and Laserlost for the 8th spot. Laserlost has overtaken Twix560, securing the 8th position. Both drivers from Team Bolt Bucket Motorsports are fiercely battling it out for that spot. Waynetrain 94, Lacroix 1980, and Laserlost are currently engaged in a competitive battle for the 7th position. Twix560 from Bolt Bucket Motorsports is making a strong move, now sitting in 8th place after overtaking Laserlost from Team Vanguard. The battle for 8th place is heating up between Twix560 and Laserlost. Waynetrain 94 and Lacroix 1980 have advanced to the 6th position, surpassing Smurf20 and Vex0v0 ID. Smurf20 and Vex0V0 ID have made impressive moves, advancing to 6P by overtaking Waynetrain 94 and Lacroix 1980. Meanwhile, RU Serial has climbed to 12P, passing WEC and ESGN 7. Chewbacca Afro in the Nissan Skyline GTR R34 is fighting hard with Schneekeistev for 19th place, closely followed by 81,792 and myself in the Ferrari F355 Berliner F1. The battle for 19P is heating up. Amy has moved up to 19P, overtaking Chewbacca Afro and Schneekeistev. Jump 073 in the Porsche 911-964 Turbo 3.6 is currently vying for the 14th position with Kokubai 90 and V4L3NA in the Mitsubishi Lancer Evo 6 TME. It's a close battle. Albert 1 and Zago 22 have advanced to 15th place, successfully overtaking Kokubai 90 and V4L3NA. Okyoki 3 and Nikenbucken taking the lead, surpassing Hugged 03. Hugged 03 from Team Navgum Kings now in second place, overtaking Duff Dad. Duff Dad is charging ahead with Okyoki 3 and Nikenbucken not far behind. Hugged 03 trails in third, but it's still anyone's race at this point. Waynetrain 94, Lacroix 1980, and Laserlost are currently engaged in a tight battle for the 7th position. Kokubai 90, V4L3NA, and Jasak 72 are locked in a tight battle for 16th position. Kokubai 90 is in a Mitsubishi Lancer Evo 6 TME. V4L3NA is also driving a Mitsubishi Lancer Evo 6 TME, and Jasak 72 is piloting a Nissan Skyline GTR R34. Jessax72 has advanced to 16th place, surpassing Kokubai 90 and V4L3NA. Laserlost is holding off Twix 560 in an intense battle for 8p. Okyoki3 and Nikembokken have surged to first place, surpassing Duff Dad from Team COD. They are now engaged in a fierce battle for the top spot. Smurf20 and Vex0v0 ID have advanced to 5th position, leaving RA Raphael and Ricky095 behind. Both pairs are locked in a tight battle for the elusive 5th spot. It's a showdown between a Lamborghini Diablo VT and a Lamborghini Diablo GTR. Twix 560 has surged to 8p, overtaking One Serious Guy and McRave Alive. One Serious Guy and McRave Alive now in 9p after overtaking Bobardo and Blue Goose 19. Bobardo and Blue Goose 19 have moved up to 10p by passing WAC and ESGN 7. Smurf20, Vex0v0 ID, Waynetrain 94, and Lacroix 1980 are currently in a tight battle for the 5th position. Meanwhile, Jump073 has overtaken Arbit1 and Zago22, moving up to the 13th spot. In turn, Arbit1 and Zago22 have surpassed Jessax72, securing the 14th position. Kokubai 90 and V4L3NA drop 6 positions to 23p. Laserlost advances to 5p, overtaking Smurf20 and Vex0v0 ID. 81,792 and Amy move up to 18p, overtaking Chewbacca Afro and Schnukaisk Teeve. Waynetrain 94 and Lacroix 1980 have made a move up to 6th place, overtaking Smurf20 and Vex0v0 ID. There's a tight battle for 6th position between Waynetrain 94 and Lacroix 1980 in a Lamborghini Diablo GTR and Smurf20 and Vex0v0 ID in a Lamborghini Diablo VT. RA Raphael and Ricky095 have also advanced to 15th place, surpassing Jessax72. Suzanne E. Greenberg and Meyer are making gains on Kokubai 90 and V4L3NA, cutting the gap by 37.1. Waynetrain 94 and Lacroix 1980 have taken 6th place from Smurf20 and Vex0v0 ID. RA Raphael and Ricky095 have advanced to 14th, leaving Arbit1 and Zago22 behind. Hey there MBG 2129, welcome back to the stream. Good to have you racing with us again. RA Raphael and Ricky095 have made a strong move, advancing to 13th place by overtaking Jump073. Smurf20 and Vex0v0 are locked in a tight battle for 7th place, both driving Lamborghini Diablos with Twix 560 close behind in a Diablo GTR. Meanwhile, Stanlebanum, Amaljit, and Felix Meal are fiercely competing for the 20th spot with a Maserati Ghibli and 2 Porsche 911 930 Turbo 3.3s. Twix 560 has advanced to 7th place, overtaking Smurf20 and Vex0v0 ID. Kokubai 90 and V4L3NA have now moved up to 22nd place, surpassing Amaljit and Felix Meal. Twix 560 has gained ground, moving up to 6P by overtaking both Waynetrain 94 and Lacroix 1980. Suzanne E. Greenberg and Meyer are making significant gains, closing in on Amaljit and Felix Meal by 33.9. Meanwhile, Waynetrain 94 and Lacroix 1980 have overtaken Twix 560, moving up to 6P. Suzanne E. Greenberg and Meyer are still reeling in Amaljit and Felix Meal, closing the gap by 33.9. Kokubai 90 and V4L3N are making a strong move, closing in on Komodo 3K and Surayanbot, reducing the gap by 2.2 seconds. MD 162 and Super Lacroix are making a strong move, closing the gap by 6.6 seconds on Suzanne Greenberg and Meyer. Gary Z from Team No Name Racing is putting the pressure on Hoped 03, bridging the gap by 2.6. Meanwhile, Smurf20 and Vex0v0 ID are in a heated battle with One Serious Guy and McGrave alive for 8th place. It's Lamborghini Diablo VT versus Vector W8 in this intense skirmish. We're seeing a lot of movement in the middle of the pack. 81,792 and Amy have made some impressive overtakes, moving up to 17P. Chubak Afro and Schnuckheistiv are also showing their skills, now sitting at 18P. Meanwhile, Stanlebanum has made his way up to 19P, overtaking Jasak 72. Kokubai 90 and V4L3NA are making significant gains on Jasak 72, reducing the gap by 47.2. Waynetrain 94 and Lacroix 1980 have advanced to 5P, overtaking Laserlost. Exciting developments on the track. Jasak 72 is reeling in Komodo 3K and Surayanbot, closing the gap by 2.9. Gary Z is definitely making some moves, closing the gap on Hoped 03 by 2.3. It's getting interesting. Arbert 1 and Zago 22 are on the move as well, overtaking Jump 073 and moving up to 14th place. Hoped 03 has moved up to 2P, overtaking Duff Dad. Duff Dad has made a strong move, taking 2P from Hoped 03 of Team Navgum Kings. Meanwhile, 81,792 and Amy have advanced to 15P, successfully overtaking John 073. Stan Labanum has advanced to 17th place, surpassing John 073. Komodo 3K and Sir Ironbot have progressed to 19th place, overtaking Jasak 72. Jasak 72 has risen to 20th place, overtaking Kokubai 90 and V4L3NA. Gary Z from Team No Name Racing is in a good position, steadily closing the gap on Hugged 03 by 2.1. Likewise, Aria Raphael and Ricky 095 are making gains on Aria Serial, also reducing the gap by 2.1. John 073 is putting in work, narrowing the distance to Stan Labanum by 3.1. MD 162 and Super Lacroix are making a strong move, reducing the gap by 519.1. Meanwhile, Jasak 72 has climbed to 19p, overtaking Komodo 3K and Sir Ironbot. There's an intense battle between Jasak 72 and Komodo 3K and Sir Ironbot for 19p. Aria Serial needs to watch out as Aria Raphael and Ricky 095 are rapidly closing the gap by 2.1 seconds. Komodo 3K and Sir Ironbot are fiercely contesting the 20th spot, both in Honda Prelude Type S99, while Kokubai 90 and V4L3NA are right there in the mix, driving Mitsubishi Lancer Evo 6 TME. Laserlost has reduced the gap to Gary Z by 2.1 seconds. Bobardo, Blue Goose 19, Wack, and Eastgene 7 are fiercely competing for the 10th spot. It's a showdown between a Ferrari F355 Berliner F1 and a Lamborghini Diablo VT. Meanwhile, Stan Labanum is making moves, closing in on Chewbacca Afro and Schneckheist Steve by 3.5 seconds. The race continues as Wack and Eastgene 7 make moves to secure the 10th position, overtaking Bobardo and Blue Goose 19. Aria Raphael and Ricky 095 are steadily closing in on Aria Serial, reducing the gap by 2.0. Meanwhile, Jasak 72 climbs to 18th place, successfully overtaking Kokubai 90 and V4L3NA. Aria Serial is now in 11p after overtaking Bobardo and Blue Goose 19. Amaljit and Pelix Meal have advanced to 21p, surpassing Komodo 3K and Sir Ironbot. Arbit 1 and Zago 22 are making a solid move, reducing the gap by 3.7 seconds as they aim to catch up with Aria Raphael and Ricky 095. Arbit 1 and Zago 22 have made a solid move, advancing to 13th place by overtaking Aria Raphael and Ricky 095. Amy is making some impressive moves, rapidly closing the gap by 41.1 seconds to Aria Raphael and Ricky 095. Hugged 03 has advanced to 3p, surpassing Gary Z from Team No Name Racing. Suzanne E. Greenberg and Meyer have made significant gains, reducing the gap to Komodo 3K and Sir Ironbot by 54.4 units. Car 1, R.A. Raphael, and Car 2, Ricky 095, are making a move, closing in on Car 3, Arbit 1, and Car 4, Zago 22, with a gap reduction of 2.1. Chubacafro and Schneekheist have advanced to 19th place, surpassing Amaljit and Thielex Meal. Meanwhile, Amaljit and Thielex Meal have moved up to 20th position, overtaking Koka by 90 and V4L3NA. R.A. Raphael and Ricky 095 are making a strong move, catching up to Arbit 1 and Zago 22, reducing the gap by 2.4 seconds. One Serious Guy and McRave Alive has made a move up to 7p, passing Twix 560. They are currently in a close battle for the 7th position. One Serious Guy and McRave Alive is driving a Vector W8, and Twix 560 is in a Lamborghini Diablo GTR. Hugged 03 is quickly reeling in Duff Dad, closing the gap by 10.6. Suzanne E. Greenberg and Meyer are making a strong move, reducing the gap to Komodo 3K and Sarayanbot by an impressive 597.4 units. Suzanne E. Greenberg and Meyer continue to hunt down Komodo 3K and Sarayanbot, reducing the gap by 2.1 seconds. Raphael and Ricky 095 are making moves, closing the gap by 2.6 seconds on Arbit 1 and Zago 22. Chubacafro and Schneekheist are making a move on Jasax 72, cutting the gap by 2.3 seconds. Raphael and Ricky 095 are making a strong move, closing in on Arbit 1 and Zago 22, reducing the gap by 2.2 seconds. Gary Z is narrowing the gap to Hugged 03 by 2.1, while WAC and Eastgene 7 are closing in on Smurf 20 and Vex 0v0 ID by 3.0. WAC and Eastgene 7 are making a move, catching up to Smurf 20 and Vex 0v0 ID, reducing the gap by 2.8 seconds. Ricky 095 and R.A. Raphael have made a move, advancing to 13th place, overtaking Arbit 1 and Zago 22. R.A. Raphael and Ricky 095 are making gains, narrowing the gap to Bo Bardo and Blue Goose 19 by 2.1 seconds. Kokubai90 and V4L3N are rapidly closing in on Amaljet and Helix Mule, reducing the gap by 2.1. Team Wegb and Isgn7 are making an impressive move, reducing the gap to Smurf20 and Vex0V0 ID by 2.4. Wegb and Isgn7 are making a strong move, closing in on Smurf20 and Vex0V0 ID, reducing the gap by 2.1 seconds. Raphael and Ricky095 are making gains, narrowing the gap by 2.0 to Bobardo and Blue Goose 19. Similarly, Chubikafro and Schnuckheistktiv are closing in on Jasax 72, reducing the gap by 2.2. Komodo 3K and Sarayanbot are quickly catching up to Amaljet and Helix Mule, closing the gap by 74.8. Raphael and Ricky095 are closing in on Bobardo and Blue Goose 19, reducing the gap by 2.4. Komodo 3K and Sarayanbot are reeling in Amaljet and Helix Mule, closing the gap by 74.8. Duvdad has surged to first place, overtaking Okyoki 3 and Nukembakum. Okyoki 3 and Nukembakum are making some serious moves, closing in on Duvdad with a 7.6 second gain. Hugged03 is closing in on Okyoki 3 and Nukembakum, reducing the gap by 41.3. Also, One Serious Guy and McRave Alive have overtaken Lazelos to move up to 5p. Hugged03 is making a strong move, closing the gap by 7.0 and pushing pressure on Okyoki 3 and Nukembakum. Meanwhile, Lazelost from Team Vanguard is encountering some challenges, dropping back 8 positions to 14p. Exciting developments in the race. Lazelost is gaining on 81,792 and Amy, narrowing the gap by 599.0. Waynetrain 94 and Lacroix 1980 are struggling, dropping back 10 places to 15p. Komodo 3K and Sarayanbot are swiftly closing in on Amaljet and Helix Mule, shortening the gap by 14.9. Twix 560 is making a strong move, narrowing the gap to One Serious Guy and McRave Alive by 595.8. John073 is making a strong push, closing the gap by 558.5 to catch up with Waynetrain 94 and Lacroix 1980. Meanwhile, Chubikafro and Schnuckheistktiv have advanced to 18th place, overtaking Jasax 72. Wegb and Isgn7 are quickly closing in on Smurf20 and Vex0V0 ID, reducing the gap by 569.8. Meanwhile, Lazelost has advanced to 13th place, overtaking 81,792 and Amy. Raphael and Ricky095 are making a fast approach, closing the gap by 582.5 to catch up with Bobardo and Blue Goose 19. Jessax72 is showing some quick moves, closing the gap by 12.7 to challenge Kokubai 90 and V4L3NA. Hugged03 is gaining ground, closing the gap by 2.3 to chase down Okyoki 3 and Nikambakan. Laserlosed is making a strong move, closing in on RR Raphael and Ricky095 by 596.5 units. Arbert1 and Zago22 have climbed to 10p, overtaking Bobardo and Blue Goose 19. Exciting developments on the track. Looks like one serious underscore guy is ready to take the lead. We've got some Duke Nukem vibes over here. Jump073 is making a strong move, reducing the gap by 493.5 and closing in on Bobardo and Blue Goose 19. RR Raphael and Ricky095 have advanced to 11p, overtaking Laserlosed, who has managed to overtake 81,792 and Amy, moving up to 12p. Jump073 has advanced to position 15, surpassing Stanley Banham. Meanwhile, Stanley Banham has moved up to position 16, overtaking both Bobardo and Blue Goose 19. RS Serial has advanced to 8p, surpassing WAC and ESGN 7. Currently, Arbit1 and Zago22 are making gains on WAC and ESGN 7, reducing the gap by 3.5. Jessax72 is also catching up to Kokubai 90 and V4L3NA, closing the gap by 3.7. WAC and ESGN 7 are swiftly gaining on Arbit1 and Zago22, reducing the gap by 21.8. Waynetrain 94 and Lacroix 1980 have advanced to 13p, overtaking 81,792 and Amy. RR Raphael and Ricky095 have cut the lead of WAC and ESGN 7 by 2.5 units. Keep an eye on this intense pursuit. Amaljit and Felix Meal have made a great move, advancing to 21st place by overtaking Bobardo and Blue Goose 19. Stella Banham in the Maserati Ghibli, Chubak Afro, and Schnuckheist Steve are currently engaged in a tight battle for the 16th position. Keep an eye on this trio as they navigate the track. Chubak Afro and Schnuckheist Steve have advanced to 15th place, overtaking Jump073. Good night, Bobardo. Thanks for joining us today. Komodo 3K and Surayanbot have made a move, advancing to 22p by overtaking Bobardo and Blue Goose 19. The race is heating up as Jump073 overtakes Jessax72 for 16th place. Jessax72 fights back, securing 17th place by passing Kokubai 90 and V4L3NA. Meanwhile, Amaljit and Felix Meal make gains, moving to 20th place after passing Stanley Banham. Stanley advances to 16p with 5 overtakes. Jasax 72 narrows the gap to Stanley by 62.5. Susanne Greenberg and Meyer gain on Bobardo and Blue Goose 19, closing the gap by 559.4. Kokubai 90 and V4L3NA are making an impressive push, closing the gap on Jump 073 by 68.8. Meanwhile, WAGP and ESGN7 are neck and neck with RR Raphael and Ricky 095, all vying for the 10th position in an intense battle. While there's an intense battle for the 10th position between WAGP and ESGN7 in their Lamborghini Diablo VT, and RR Raphael and Ricky 095 in their Lamborghini Diablo GTR. Meanwhile, RR Raphael and Ricky 095 are also locked in a tight fight with Laserlost for the 11th spot. At the same time, Komodo 3K and Surianbot in their Honda Prelude Type S99 are fiercely contesting against Bobardo and Blue Goose 19 in their Ferrari F355mm F1 for the 22nd position. Komodo 3K and Surianbot are making significant gains, closing the gap by 41.4 on Bobardo and Blue Goose 19. RR Raphael and Ricky 095 have moved up to 10p, overtaking Laserlost, who has then moved up to 11p, overtaking WAGP and ESGN7. That's right, folks. Raphael and Ricky 095 are making moves, closing in on Arbert 1 and Zago 22 by 2.4. Meanwhile, Waynetrain 94 and Lacroix 1980 are hot on the trail of WAGP and ESGN7, narrowing the gap by 2.2. And let's not forget Kokubai 90 and V4L3NA, as they are reeling in Jump 073, reducing the gap by 3.5. It's anybody's game out there. Twix 560 has climbed to 5p, parsing one serious guy and McGrave alive. RR Raphael and Ricky 095 have advanced to 9p, surpassing Laserlost. Laserlost has risen to 10p, overtaking WAGP and ESGN7. Someone said, race. Welcome, someone. We are here to watch our controlled cars race against each other in a simulator. You can join the fun by typing race followed by the number of the car you want at the car selection screen. If you have any questions or just want to chat, feel free to say hey Amy. Waynetrain 94 and Lacroix 1980 have advanced to 11p, surpassing WAGP and ESGN7. Chubak Afro and Schneekeistev are making gains on Arbert 1 and Zago 22, reducing the gap by 2.3. Kokubai 90 and V4L3NA are closing in on Jump 073, reducing the gap by 2.3. Arya Serial has made a significant move, closing the gap by 46.2 and is right on the tail of one serious guy and McGrave alive. Gary Z is also making progress, reducing the gap by 2.1 and closing in on Hooked 03. RR Raphael and Ricky 095 are making a move, reducing the gap to Arya Serial by 2.1 seconds. Arbit1 and Zago22 are making gains on 81,792 and Amy, reducing the gap by 2.9 seconds. Bobardo and Blue Goose 19 are rapidly gaining ground on Amaljet and Helix Mule, reducing the gap by 2.0 seconds. R.A. Raphael and Ricky095 are making significant progress as they close in on Arya Serial, reducing the gap by 2.8 seconds. Okyoki3 and Nukembakum are making gains on Duff Dad, narrowing the gap by 2.9. Additionally, One Serious Guy and McRave Alive are closing in on Smurf20 and Vex0v0 ID, reducing the gap by 2.1. Chubakafro and Schneekheistiv are catching up to Arbit1 and Zago22, reducing the gap by 518.2. Laserlost has advanced to 9p, surpassing R.A. Raphael and Ricky095. Waynetrain 94 and Lacroix 1980 have made an impressive move, now sitting in 10th position after overtaking R.A. Raphael and Ricky095. It looks like a heated battle is unfolding for the coveted 10th spot. Stanlabanum is gaining ground on Chubakafro and Schneekheistiv, closing the gap by 578.0 units. Arbit1 and Zago22 are also narrowing in on 81,792 and Amy, reducing the gap by 2.2 units. It's getting intense out there. Amy and 81,792 are now at 12p after overtaking Arbit1 and Zago22. In turn, Arbit1 and Zago22 have moved up to 13p, overtaking R.A. Raphael and Ricky095. R.A. Raphael and Ricky095 are quickly reeling in Arbit1 and Zago22, closing the gap by 19.0. Laserlost is reeling in Arya Serial, closing the gap by 2.2. R.A. Raphael and Ricky095 are reeling in Arbit1 and Zago22, closing the gap by 19.0. R.A. Raphael and Ricky095 are making impressive progress, closing in on Arbit1 and Zago22 by 2.3 seconds. R.A. Raphael and Ricky095 are closing in on Arbit1 and Zago22, reducing the gap by 2.1. Meanwhile, Chubakafro and Schneekheistiv are also reeling in R.A. Raphael and Ricky095, closing the gap by 4.4. Chubakafro and Schneekheistiv are rapidly closing in on R.A. Raphael and Ricky095, reducing the gap by 82.3. Meanwhile, Laserlost is catching up to Arya Serial, closing the gap by 2.4. The competition is heating up. One Serious Guy and McRave Alive are closing in on Smurf20 and Vex0v0 ID, reducing the gap by 2.4 seconds. Similarly, Laserlost is catching up to Aria Serial, closing the gap by 2.1 seconds. Laserlost is closing in on Aria Serial, reducing the gap by 2.1. Aria Raphael and Ricky095 are reeling in Arbit 1 and Zago 22, closing the gap by 2.3. Amaljit and the Alex Mill are rapidly closing in on Kokubai 90 and V4L3NA, reducing the gap by 47.2 units. One Serious Guy and McRave Alive have made a significant gain, closing in on Smurf 20 and Vex0V0 ID by 2.7. Meanwhile, Aria Raphael and Ricky095 are also making headway as they close the gap on Arbit 1 and Zago 22 by 2.3. AG1792 and Amy are rapidly closing in on WACP and ESGN7, cutting the gap by 50.3. Meanwhile, One Serious Guy and McRave Alive are narrowing the distance to Smurf 20 and Vex0V0 ID by 2.6. Also, Laserlost is closing in on Aria Serial, reducing the gap by 2.3. Laserlost is closing in on Aria Serial, narrowing the gap by 2.3. Aria Raphael and Ricky095 have moved up to 13p, overtaking 81,792 and Amy. John073 has made a move up to the 17th position, successfully overtaking Jasak72. Hugged03 is closing in on Okyoki 3 and Newcambakum, reducing the gap by 3.2 seconds. Chubacafro and Schnuckheist have moved up to 14p, overtaking 81,792 and Amy. Kokubai 90 and V4L3NA are making an impressive move, closing the gap on Jasak 72 by 43.9. Laserlost has made a move, advancing to 8p by overtaking Aria Serial. Stella Bannon is making a strong push, closing the gap by 79.4 and zeroing in on 81,792 and Amy. Meanwhile, Aria Serial has made a move up to 8p, overtaking Laserlost. The competition is heating up. Waynetrain 94 and Lacroix 1980 have made a decisive move, advancing to 9th place by overtaking Aria Serial. WACP and ESGN7 are quickly reeling in Aria Serial, closing the gap by 7.3 seconds. WACP and ESGN7 have significantly closed the gap on Aria Serial by 41.1. One Serious Guy and McRave Alive are currently fighting for the 8th position, with Waynetrain 94 and Lacroix 1980 also in the mix. One Serious Guy and McRave Alive are piloting a Vector W8, while Waynetrain 94 and Lacroix 1980 are behind the wheel of a Lamborghini Diablo GTR. Train 94 and Lacroix 1980 have made impressive moves, advancing to the 8th position while overtaking One Serious Guy and McRae Live. Laserlost is making a strong move, closing in on Smurf 20 and Vex 0v0 ID by 40.5. Also, Wipe and ESG 7 have overtaken Aria Serial, moving up to the 10th position. Wipe and ESG 7 make a bold move, now up to 10p, overtaking Aria Serial. It's a tight battle as they maneuver through the track. Wipe and ESG 7 is in a Lamborghini Diablo VT, while Aria Serial is in a Nissan Skyline R33 LM Nismo. Arbert 1 and Zago 22 are battling it out for 12p in their Nissan Skyline R33 LM Nismo, while R.A. Raphael and Ricky095 are right there with them in their Lamborghini Diablo GTR. The battle is on as Wipe and ESG 7 are closing in on One Serious Guy and McRae Alive, reducing the gap by 2.4. Meanwhile, R.A. Raphael and Ricky095 have made a move to 12p, overtaking Arbert 1 and Zago 22. Smurf 20 and Vex 0v0 ID are rapidly catching up to Twix 560 from Team Bolt Bucket Motorsports, reducing the gap by 5.5. Amaljet and Felix Meal are making a swift move, narrowing the gap to Koke by 90 and V4L3NA by 10.8. Laserlost is making moves, getting closer to Smurf 20 and Vex 0v0 ID by 2.4. Bobardo and Blue Goose 19 are on the rise, now at 21p, passing Amaljet and Felix Meal. Laserlost from Team Vanguard is making a move, closing the gap by 2.0 and aiming to overtake Smurf 20 and Vex 0v0 ID. Okyoki 3 and Nukembakum have surged to the lead, overtaking Duff Dad. Currently, Hogged03 from Team Navgum Kings is catching up to Duff Dad, reducing the gap by 31.4. Additionally, Bobardo and Blue Goose 19 are closing in on Koke by 90 and V4L3NA, reducing the gap by 2.4. Gary Z is closing in on Hogged03 from Team Navgum Kings, reducing the gap by 2.3. Gary Z has closed the gap on Hogged03 by 2.1 seconds. Gary Z is making a strong charge, narrowing the gap to Hogged03 by 38.0. Bobardo and Blue Goose 19 are making a move on Kokubai 90 and V4L3NA, decreasing the gap by 2.1 seconds. Twix 560 is closing in on Gary Z from Team No Name Racing, reducing the gap by 2.1 seconds. Meanwhile, Arbit 1 and Zago 22 are also narrowing the gap to R.A. Raphael and Ricky 095 by 2.3 seconds. Laserlost is closing in on Smurf 20 and Vex 0v0 ID, reducing the gap by 2.7 seconds. Hugged 03 and Gary Z are in a heated battle for the third position. Hugged 03 has advanced to 3P, surpassing Gary Z. They are now fiercely contending for the third position. Hugged 03 is closing in on Gary Z, reducing the gap by 69.4. Amaljet and Felix Neal have made a move to 21P, overtaking Kokubai 90 and V4L3NA. Twix 560 has made an impressive move, closing the gap on Hugged 03 by 2.1. Komodo 3K and Surianbot are gaining on Kokubai 90 and V4L3NA, reducing the gap by 6.3 seconds. Komodo 3K and Surianbot are rapidly gaining on Kokubai 90 and V4L3NA, reducing the gap by 40.2 seconds. Twix 560 holds the lead but is being pursued by Smurf 20 and Vex 0v0 ID, who have narrowed the gap by 2.5 seconds. Arya Serial, buckle up. Raphael and Ricky 095 are closing in, reducing the gap by 2.7 seconds. Jessax 72, Bobardo, and Blue Goose 19 are currently engaged in a close race for the 19th position. Jessax 72 is behind the wheel of a Nissan Skyline GTR R34 while Bobardo and Blue Goose 19 is piloting a Ferrari F355 Berliner F1. Gary Z is making gains on Duff Dad, closing the gap by 2.0. Meanwhile, Amaljet and Alex Mill are closing in on Bobardo and Blue Goose 19, reducing the gap by 3.2. Duff Dad is gaining on Okyoki 3 and Nukem Bakum, reducing the gap by 2.3. Bobardo and Blue Goose 19 have advanced to 19p, overtaking Jassax 72. Bobardo and Blue Goose 19 have successfully overtaken Jassax 72, moving up to 19p. The battle for 19p is heating up between Bobardo and Blue Goose 19 in a Ferrari F355 Berliner F1 and Jassax 72 in a Nissan Skyline GTR R34. Laserlost is making gains on Smurf 20 and Vex 0v0 ID, closing the gap by 2.6. Bobardo and Blue Goose 19 are fiercely contesting 19p with Jassax 72, each showcasing their skills with a Ferrari F355 Berliner F1 and a Nissan Skyline GTR R34, respectively. Train 94 and Lacroix 1980 have made a strong move, securing the 7th position by overtaking Laserlost. Train 94 and Lacroix 1980 have significantly closed the gap by 6.1, making it an intense pursuit for Smurf 20 and Vex 0v0 ID. We're also seeing a close battle between Stan Labanum in a Maserati Ghibli and Jomb 073 in a Porsche 911 964 Turbo 3.6 for the 15th position. Train 94 and Lacroix 1980 make a significant move to take 7th position, overtaking One Serious Guy and McRae-Villave. Meanwhile, One Serious Guy and McRae-Villave have also made a move, taking 8th position from Laserlost from Team Vanguard. WACP and ESGN7 have advanced to 9p, surpassing Aria Serial. In turn, Aria Serial has moved up to 10p, overtaking Laserlost. Aria Raphael and Ricky095 have made a strong move, advancing to 11p, surpassing Laserlost in the process. $81,792 and Amy are making significant gains, closing the gap on Stan Labanum by 35.4. Bobardo and Blue Goose 19 have made a significant move, jumping to 17th place by overtaking 81,792 and Amy. The chasing pack of Arbert 1 and Zago 22 is making a strong move, closing in on Laserlost by a significant 567.3 units. Amy and 81,792 are making gains, closing in on Bobardo and Blue Goose 19 by 2.5 seconds. Train 94 and Lacroix 1980 are making gains, closing in on Smurf 20 and Vex 0v0 ID by 2.8 seconds. Amaljit and Felix Meal have advanced to 20th place, surpassing Jassax 72. Train 94 and Lacroix 1980 have advanced to 6th place, overtaking Smurf 20 and Vex 0v0 ID. Kokubai 90 and V4L3NA have also moved up to 21st place, passing Jassax 72. We've seen Duff Dad take the lead at the start, closely followed by Okyoki 3 and Nukambakan. Although Gary Z is trailing behind, there's still plenty of time for a comeback. Duff Dad is setting the pace with Okyoki 3 and Nukambakan close behind, and Gary Z trailing in third. It's still anyone's race as they navigate the turns and straightaways. It's a tight race with Dovdad currently leading, followed by Okyoki 3 and Nukembakum, and Gary Z not too far behind. The competition is heating up early in the race, folks. Dovdad is keeping a tight lead, followed closely by Okyoki 3 and Nukembakum. And trailing behind is Gary Z, giving his best to catch up. Let's see who will maneuver their way into the top spot. Dovdad is taking an early lead, with Okyoki 3 and Nukembakum right on their tail. Meanwhile, Gary Z is trailing but looking to make a move. The cars are zooming by, and it looks like Dovdad is leading the pack, followed closely by Okyoki 3 and Nukembakum. Meanwhile, Gary Z is not too far behind in third place. Let's see if they can maintain their positions as the race progresses. Kokubai 90 and V4L3NA are making significant progress, closing the gap on Amaljit and Felix Meal by 2.1 seconds. Okyoki 3 and Nukembakum are making a strong move, reducing the gap to Dovdad by 77.4 units. Smurf 20 and Vex 0v0 ID in the Lamborghini Diablo VT are in a tight duel with one serious guy and McGrave alive in the Vector W8 for the 7th position. Gary Z is making a strong move, closing the gap on Okyoki 3 and Nukembakum by 548.8 units. Stella Bannon continues to defend against Bobardo and Blue Goose 19, who are closing in, reducing the gap by 2.4 seconds. Stella Bannon is feeling the pressure as Bobardo and Blue Goose 19 continue to close in, reducing the gap by 2.9 seconds. Looks like we've got some intense racing action and plenty of drama going on out there. Keep the adrenaline pumping, folks. That's right, folks. WACP and ESGN7 are making moves, narrowing the gap with one serious guy and McGrave alive by 4.6 seconds. Amaljit and Felix Meal have made a strong move up to 18th place, successfully overtaking Bobardo and Blue Goose 19. Hey Alpha Drago, welcome back to the racetrack. Glad to have you tuning in again. Let's see some exciting races together. Checkered flag. Waynetrain 94 and Lacroix 1980 are making an impressive move, closing in on Twix 560 by 11.6. Meanwhile, R.A. Raphael and Ricky 095 are also gaining ground on Aria Serial, narrowing the gap by 6.8. Jessax 72 is putting pressure on Bobardo and Blue Goose 19, closing in by 5.7. Kokubai 90 and V4L3N are making a strong push, closing the gap by 10.2 seconds to 81,792 and Amy. Meanwhile, Gary Z is narrowing the distance to Okyoki 3 and Nyakembakum by 2.6 seconds. Additionally, Asia 1792 and Amy are also reducing the gap to Bobardo and Blue Goose 19 by 2.1 seconds. Komodo 3K and Surayanbot are making significant progress, closing the gap by 43.8 to Kokubai 90 and V4L3NA. Okyoki 3 and Nyakembakum are also gaining on Duff Dad, reducing the gap by 3.3. Komodo 3K and Surayanbot continues to close in on Kokubai 90 and V4L3NA, now by 43.8. Train 94 and Lacroix 1980 are making a strong push, reducing the gap to Twix 560 by 2.2 seconds. Bobardo and Blue Goose 19 are making gains on Jessax 72, reducing the gap by 2.3 seconds. Arya Serial is under pressure as Arya Raphael and Ricky 095 are rapidly closing the gap by 2.1 seconds. Jessax 72 is closing in on Amaljit and Pilex Meal, reducing the gap by 2.2 seconds. Hugged 03 from Team Nafgum Kings is reeling in Gary Z, closing the gap by 2.8 seconds. Train 94 and Lacroix 1980 are making a strong move, closing in on Twix 560, reducing the gap by 2.3 seconds. Train 94 and Lacroix 1980 are closing in on Twix 560, reducing the gap by 2.9 seconds. Susanne Greenberg and Meyer are making significant gains, closing the gap by 417.9 as they reel in Komodo 3K and Surayanbot. Wow, it looks like things are getting intense out there on the track. Keep those Lamba shiny side up, folks. Okyoki 3 and Nyakembakum have seized the lead, surpassing Duff Dad. The cars are speeding around the track with Duff Dad currently leading, followed closely by Okyoki 3 and Nyakembakum in second place, and Gary Z trailing in third position. Okyoki 3 and Nyakenbakum are making a strong move, closing the gap to Dufdad by 578.4 units. Gary Z made a move to second place, overtaking Hugged 03. Hugged 03 then climbed to third position, overtaking both Okyoki 3 and Nyakenbakum. R.A. Raphael and Ricky 095 have made a strong move to secure 10th position, overtaking Aria Serial. The three drivers are now locked in a tightly contested battle for the 10th spot. It's R.A. Raphael and Ricky 095 in a Lamborghini Diablo GTR versus Aria Serial in a Nissan Skyline R33 LM Nismo. Laserlost better watch out as Arbert 1 and Zago 22 are closing in, reducing the gap by 6.9 seconds. Gary Z is making a strong move, closing in on Dufdad and reducing the gap by 507.6 units. Laserlost has managed to narrow the gap and is now just 2.1 seconds behind Aria Serial. Closely contested battle for 11p between Aria Serial in the Nissan Skyline R33 LM Nismo and Laserlost in the Lamborghini Diablo GTR. Meanwhile, Jessax 72, Bobardo, and Blue Goose 19 are fiercely competing for 19p. Jessax 72 is in a Nissan Skyline GTR R34, while Bobardo and Blue Goose 19 are driving a Ferrari F355 Berliner F1. Okyoki 3 and Nyakenbakum are making a swift move, narrowing the gap on Hugged 03 by 6.2 seconds. Twix 560 is on the move, closing in on Okyoki 3 and Nyakenbakum with an impressive 594.6 gain. Okyoki 3 and Nyakenbakum continue to close in on Hugged 03, reducing the gap by 6.2 seconds. Smurf 20 and Vex 0v0 ID are fiercely contending with One Serious Guy and McRave Alive for the 7th position. It's an interesting mix of car models, with the Lamborghini Diablo VT challenging the Vector W8. Okyoki 3 and Nyakenbakum are making gains on Hugged 03 from Team Nafgum Kings, reducing the gap by 2.0. Meanwhile, Smurf 20 and Vex 0v0 ID are locked in a battle for 7p with One Serious Guy and McRave Alive, all showcasing their skills in Lamborghini Diablo VT and Vector W8 cars. Elsewhere, Arbert 1 and Zago 22 are narrowing the distance to Aria Serial by 2.3. Hugged 03 is under pressure as Okyoki 3 and Nyakenbakum are closing in, reducing the gap by 3.2 seconds. Smurf 20 in the Lamborghini and Vex 0v0 ID are battling One Serious Guy and McRave Alive for the 7th position. It's a tight contest. Surely, the competition is heating up as Okyoki 3 and Nukembakum are making gains on Hubbed 03, narrowing the gap by 2.2 seconds. Jessax 72, Bobardo, and Blue Goose 19 are in a heated battle for the 19th position. Jessax 72 is in a Nissan Skyline GTR R34, while Bobardo and Blue Goose 19 is driving a Ferrari F355 Berliner F1. One Serious Guy and McRae have made a move up to 7p, pushing Smurf 20 and Vex 0v0 ID down a spot. Smurf 20 and Vex 0v0 ID have advanced to 6th place, successfully overtaking Wayne Train 94 and Lacroix 1980. Meanwhile, a tussle is intensifying between Jessax 72 and Bobardo and Blue Goose 19 for the 19th position. Keep an eye on this exciting battle as it unfolds. Car 20 driven by Smurf and Car 0 driven by Vex 0v0 ID have advanced to 4th place, surpassing Okyoki 3 and Nukembakum. Okyoki 3 and Nukembakum make a strong move, overtaking Twix 560 for 4th place. Twix 560 swiftly recovers and overtakes Wayne Train 94 and Lacroix 1980 to secure 5th place. Wayne Train 94 and Lacroix 1980 also make a significant move, overtaking One Serious Guy and McRae Alive to claim 6th position. Wow, WAG and ESGN7 are really making a move, closing the gap by 589.2 and reeling in Smurf 20 and Vex 0v0 ID. The gap between One Serious Guy and McRae Alive and Wayne Train 94 and Lacroix 1980 is down to 4.2. Juni said, I recently downloaded Shutoko Revival and every time I try to drive it, it says race cancelled. Anyone know how to fix it? Hey there, welcome to the stream. Here, we're actually watching our controlled cars racing in a simulation, so you won't be able to play Shutoko Revival here. But you can join in the fun by influencing the race and cheering for your favorite car. Feel free to chat with me by using the magic words "Hey Amy" if you have any questions or just want to talk about the race and cars. One Serious Guy and McRae have advanced to 6p, successfully overtaking Wayne Train 94 and Lacroix 1980. Welcome back, Majid 37 ARG. It's great to have you back in the fast lane with us. Racing car checkered flag. Jessax 72 in the Nissan Skyline GTR R34 is fiercely contesting 19p with Bobardo and Blue Goose 19 in the Ferrari F355 Berliner F1. Smurf 20 and Vex 0v0 ID are making a strong move, closing the gap on Wayne Train 94 and Lacroix 1980 by 5.3 seconds. One Serious Guy and McRae Alive are closing in on Twix 560, reducing the gap by 2.2. Meanwhile, RR Raphael and Ricky095 are also catching up to WAC and ESGN7, closing the gap by 2.3. Bobardo and Blue Goose 19 have made a solid move, climbing to 19th place by overtaking Jessax 72. Exciting battle unfolding between these three drivers for the 19th spot. It's great to see everyone helping each other out with Assetto Corsa. The community here is awesome for sharing tips and tricks. Let's keep the positive vibes going. WAC and ESGN7 in a Lamborghini Diablo VTR neck and neck with RR Raphael and Ricky095 in a Lamborghini Diablo GTR, all vying for the 9th position. Laserlost is now only 2.4 seconds away from catching WAC and ESGN7. One Serious Guy and McRae Alive are making gains on Twix 560, closing the gap by 2.8. Bobardo and Blue Goose 19 are also catching up to Amaljit and Felix Meal, reducing the gap by 2.1. Amaljit and the Alex Mill are vying for position with Bobardo and Blue Goose 19, all fighting for the 17th spot. Amaljit and the Alex Mill are in a Porsche 911 930 Turbo 3.3, while Bobardo and Blue Goose 19 are in a Ferrari F355 Berliner F1. It seems everyone is having a great time in the chat. Keep the energy up, everyone. Timo Kyoki 3 and Niken Bakum have secured the 3rd position by overtaking Haupt03. Meanwhile, Smurf 20 and Vex 0v0 ID made a move to 7th place, surpassing RR Raphael and Ricky095. RR Raphael and Ricky095 then advanced to 8th place, overtaking Laserlost from Team Vanguard. Twix 560 has made a solid move up to 4p, overtaking One Serious Guy and McRae Alive. One Serious Guy and McRae Alive then took advantage of the opportunity to also climb to 5p, overtaking Haupt03. Meanwhile, Amaljit and Felix Meal are neck and neck with Bobardo and Blue Goose 19, all vying for 17p. The Porsche 911 930 Turbo 3.3 and Ferrari F355 Berliner F1 are really putting on a show in this battle. The battle is on as RR Raphael and Ricky095 are making significant gains, closing the gap by 17.1 seconds on Haupt03. Meanwhile, Arbert1 and Zago22 are swiftly closing in on Arya Serial, reducing the gap by 5.6 seconds. And it's not over yet, as Jump073 is also catching up, closing the gap by 48.4 seconds on Arbert1 and Zago22. Okyoki 3 and Niken Bakum have narrowed the gap to Gary Z by 3.2. One Serious Guy and McRae Alive are closing in on Twix 560, reducing the gap by 2.4. Haupt03 is reeling in Smurf 20 and Vex 0v0 ID, closing the gap by 3.1. Train 94 and Lacroix 1980 are making significant progress, narrowing the gap to WAG and Eugene 7 by 16.9. Meanwhile, Aria Serial is swiftly catching up to Train 94 and Lacroix 1980, reducing the gap by 592.0. The competition is heating up. Train 94 and Lacroix 1980 are gaining ground on WAG and Eugene 7, narrowing the gap by 2.8 seconds. Matute 37 ARC said, "Hey Amy." Hey there, Matute 37 ARC. What's on your mind today? Train 94 and Lacroix 1980 are making gains, reducing the gap to WAG and Eugene 7 by 2.2. Similarly, Komodo 3K and Surianbot are closing in on Kokubai 90 and V4L3 No, narrowing the gap by 2.0. WAG and Eugene 7 are making a strong move, reducing the gap to Laserlost by 2.6 seconds. Okyoki3 said, "Hey Amy, will I crush one more time this race? Who knows? Let's hope for a clean finish."